Welcome back. All right, Laura Hanley is here. She is better known to the world as G-Free Laura. And she's got a great blog about eating gluten-free. And we always kind of try to go over this a little bit. You eat gluten-free because? Why do you, how does it change your life to eat gluten-free?
For health reasons. If I eat gluten, I get ill. So it's not the, trying to drop a few pounds. It's a lifelong decision that I've made.
And I really think that's important for people to know too. It's not a, gluten-free isn't a diet. It's not a, it's really a commitment, and it is really based on how you feel. Certainly if you have celiac disease, it's something you have to do.
Yes.
But some people feel better just not having gluten in their diet. How long have you been doing gluten-free?
I've been gluten-free for over 5 years now.
And what were the benefits that you kind of felt once you switched over to eating without gluten in your diet?
Before, I had intestinal issues, so just 3 days into the diet, those started to go away. Some bloating stopped and things of that nature. But like I said, since it's for health reasons, I kind of had the whole overhaul of my entire body felt better.
See, that is amazing. And I'm going to be honest, I went gluten-free for about 6 weeks and then went to a beer fest, which was gluten-full, and I didn't feel any different. So I felt like it really probably that I wasn't sensitive to gluten, but I wanted to try to see, and I actually felt like although there were certain dietary concerns that I would have during the time that I was gluten-free, there's so many options now. I've learned from your blog and the products, and it was actually not as difficult as I thought it was going to be to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of substitute products out there that you can find for basically anything that you're craving. I'm going to make Bisquick today, so if someone thinks Bisquick and biscuits, it's a lot of gluten, but there's substitutes out there for virtually everything now.
Okay, so what are we going to make today?
We're going to make some chili bites that are good for kind of the football tailgate party kind of thing.
Okay.
So they're just bite size. You don't have to worry about having your bowl of chili and spilling and things of that nature.
Okay, so before we get started there, I just want to tell you I finished my chocolate quesadilla. So I'm going to put it over there. I'm going to cut it up in a minute and show you how it's dressed in a minute. But I want to get the skillet free for G-free. Okay, so on that note, would you use a tortilla that's a gluten-free tortilla, a corn tortilla?
You can use that if you want to go the tortilla route instead of like the Bisquick biscuit kind of route.
That would be another way to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So, all right, let's start with, you've got a lot of different steps here we want to go with. So explain, you kind of came up with this recipe. What was the inspiration? The
inspiration was McCormick's coming out with a new chili packet seasoning, which those are kind of the things that have been more difficult for us to find, the ready to make kind of meal prep. Before it's been putting together your own ingredients to make those, your own spices. So they're coming out with a new one. So I was tasked.
McCormick said to you?
Yes, they asked me to make a recipe with their mix. So I thought, with football season being here and trying to do the finger foods, that I'd go that route.
Okay, so that was sort of their approach was the first thing that
yeah.
Okay, so what do we have on the skillet here? You tell me that. I'm going to grab a paper towel. So you tell me what's on that skillet.
We have the chili meat right now. We brought it to a boil, so now it's just going to simmer as we're making the rest of our...
But you've got what else in there so that I can see?
We have a can of drained tomatoes.
Okay.
And then in the meat that I browned, I have a green pepper and onion.
Okay, so as we look in there, you've got green pepper, chili, tomatoes, onion, and the meat.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have your chili mixture, and you're not going to make it as watery as you would if you would make just chili itself in a bowl, because you're going to be putting it on the biscuit.
So you want a little bit of that liquid to drain out?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So that's going there, and that takes a little time to get that drained out.
That's going to simmer, and we're going to work on the making the gluten-free biscuit for the bottom now.
Okay, so biscuit is the code word that would get people, I can't have this if they're trying to eat gluten-free. And, as we talk too, also visit gluten-free, gfreelaura.com, right?
Yes.
Okay, I have it pulled up at some point. Yeah, there it is. Oh my gosh. She has one of the most gorgeous websites, and it never makes you feel like you're deprived, because you do such a great job with the photography, and it looks like you're not sacrificing at all when you're eating gluten-free when you go to her website. Okay, so that's out through, while we're talking here, you also see her website. So all right, let's start our Bisquick. So Bisquick has gluten-free?
Yeah, they've had gluten-free for a while too. They came out with it probably like 3 years ago. It was one of those exciting things.
Slide over here so they can see what you're doing.
It was like, oh my gosh, I can have, a major brand name has that. So we're going to use the gluten-free Bisquick, and we're cutting the Crisco in it right now. to get.
Get
we're
a dough kinda
we're
going.
following the instructions of the packet.
Okay.
So they want you to cut that into pea-sized pieces. So we're just going to go around and do that. But yeah, when Bisquick came out with the gluten-free version, it was like the hottest thing.
I
in
bet.
the online
I bet.
gluten-free community. We're like, oh my gosh, I can make pancakes without buying, without going to the health food store and getting the special, the special mix. And I
Big
can make
news
Bisquicks.
in the gluten world.
Yeah.
Well, I use Bisquick for a lot. You grow up using Bisquick.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about it. So you cut, how much Crisco was in
Just
there?
1/3 cup.
1/3
And
cup.
I buy it in those little plastic ones that are easier than the big container, and it actually has the.
They're measured out already.
Yeah, it has that in there.
And that's
So-
also good if you're not cooking for tons and tons of people.
Yeah.
I know sometimes people on both ends of the spectrum will talk to me like, okay, I don't have kids yet, I don't need to make this big recipe, or my kids, in my case, are older and they're not in the house, or you see all these recipes with serves millions. You don't always need that. So I love the smaller portions
Yeah.
like that for cooking.
So now we put in 2/3 cups milk and 3 eggs, and we just have to mix this around.
It's amazing what is gluten-free. You think, oh my gosh, I can't have this or that, but there's so many things. So the McCormick, did you do 3 recipes for them, did you say?
I did one with their taco seasoning. I called them fancy nachos.
I like any recipe that says it's fancy, but
I like any recipe that says it's fancy and it's nachos. Best of both worlds. And what I did for that is I actually had the tortillas that you have right there, those gluten-free corn ones.
Oh, good.
And I cut them in 8s.
Okay.
And I used a mini muffin pan, and I put 2 per pan and layered on cheese and beans and taco meat, and it came out kind of like a little cup of a nacho rather than a flat chip.
We'll have to try that. We'll have to try that.
It'll be on my blog in October.
Okay.
So yeah.
All those McCormick recipes are sort of rolling out over the next
Yes.
few weeks on your blog. Okay. And she also looks at products. She finds because like all products, some of them are great and some of them are not so great. So I really appreciate that. Especially, like I said, when I was going with the gluten-free experiment in my life, you were a lifesaver for me. Okay, so you have made, look at how fast that was. So you made your dough with the Bisquick and the Crisco, and that was it. And the eggs.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're generally going to have most of those ingredients in your house
Absolutely
too.
right.
So next, you just get a muffin tin out, and we're gonna use a small spoon, a teaspoon, and get some dough and put it in the pan. The key is making a depression in the dough.
Do you do any?
You don't need any spray.
Okay.
So I have some olive oil on standby, so my fingers don't get too sticky when I'm trying to
Fair enough.
flatten out the dough. So we're just gonna put it in there and kind of flatten out the middle so it has a little ridge around the edge.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. This would be a good recipe to do, with the kids or something like that to get everyone involved.
Okay. Yeah, get them do that part.
Yeah. So you're just going to keep going with that, putting them in here.
You're not filling the whole thing. You're making just kind of a little landing spot.
And another cool thing is if you're doing this and you do find that your dough or biscuits aren't really going in there that perfectly, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You're gonna pile on the meat and it's gonna be all good. So if you bring a biscuit out of the oven and it's kind of all weird looking, don't worry, you're gonna put the meat on, and so
everything I bring out of the oven looks kind of weird looking.
So you don't need to be a perfectionist when you're doing this. So
that's good. That's good. I think that's what's intimidating for people, is if they feel like it has to look perfect, they'll stay away from the recipe.
Yeah.
There's no need for that.
So you would fill up this entire pan, and if you do the regular Bisquick amount, it's going to give you about 2 trays worth.
Okay, so you'll have 24 servings of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to set those aside, and this is what they look like when they come out of the oven. You bake them for 10 to 12 minutes.
So you've got 10 to 12 minutes, what, around 400?
Yes, 400.
Okay. And you've got a little brown on them. Can you see that? You got a little bit of a brown on them, so that's just perfect. That'll be just perfect.
Yeah, and
10, 12 minutes is not long.
Oh, yeah, and what you can do is when they're cooking, you can work on doing your meat or whatever else you're going to do with the recipe. So,
okay.
As you can see, they have kind of the little ridge going on, perfect little bite size.
Bite size is perfect.
Yes. So after your biscuits are done, we're going to go to our meat.
Okay. Is that hot? Did you burn don't burn yourself just for TV. Okay, so did we say this was ground turkey or ground?
This is ground turkey, but you
Okay.
can use ground beef. So we're going to.
You need a utensil? I can
Yes,
get it for
I
you?
do. I use my spoon.
What do you
in the
need?
bit-
Another
just
spoon?
Yeah, just a medium spoon.
Okay, let's see if I got one in here. A medium spoon. Well, how about this? It's spoon-esque. Will
That'll
that
work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoon-esque. Actually, kind of the right size that way.
So all we're gonna do is scoop your meat on top, just a spoonful. And once again, don't worry about it being perfect. The muffin tin is gonna kind of contain it, which is great. Because if you were doing this on a flat tray, it would be falling over, and we'd be
You
getting
don't
into
want
trouble.
that.
So yeah, and if you're doing this, use a slotted spoon as well. That can help get some of the
Grease out if you want.
Yeah, the water that hasn't necessarily simmered out yet.
That's
So.
another nice fast technique. Use the slotted spoon so that it's even drier in there a little bit,
Yeah.
so you don't have too much moisture when you're putting it into your little gluten-free Bisquick. What do you call those? Little Bisquick biscuits, maybe cups.
Mini bites
Mini
of
cups?
heaven. We can call it that, right?
Mini bites of heaven.
So we cover that.
Okay, so
And-
those look already good.
Yeah, I mean,
It really does.
I'm getting hungry already. So let me grab my cheese, and then we're gonna just sprinkle some cheese on top. Pretty simple, right?
Very simple, but
And
perfect.
this is just like the Mexican 4 cheese kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing too fancy about it, right?
No, I like that.
Put on a lot if you want a lot of cheese, kind of.
Right. If you're going gluten-free and low calorie, you're going to want to keep the cheese amount down. But if you're not worried about these are small little
Yeah,
things.
they're
There's-
cute little
You might as well
guys.
put more cheese on there.
And if it's for a football tailgate, come on.
Right, exactly. They don't
Splurge
even
a
have to
little.
know it's gluten-free, by the way.
No, and they won't.
They won't know.
Uh-uh.
All right, so you've got your cheese on. Then what? Then what happens?
Then we're just gonna put it into the broiler for like 1 minute.
For
So,
1 minute. Okay.
Gonna put this on.
So she's going to do that real quick. And that goes in there. And but before we get back to those, I just want to show you, I did pull my chocolate cinnamon quesadillas off the pan. You have to cut it in half to kind of go with the diet sort of deal. But right here, if you're a Weight Watcher, this is only going to be 4 points for one of these things. And I swear you do feel like you're having a huge cheat fest. So there, we're going to put a little bit of powdered sugar on it. And there is my little chocolate cinnamon quesadilla. Cheating is fine. You can have this snack. Okay, so we finish yours off. And
Yeah.
let's see the
It's just sitting in there we'll let it sit for a little bit more because I had the pre-made biscuits, so they're not gonna be as hot as they would be
Okay.
if you pulled it right out of the oven.
And what kind of, and so again, you use this as a tailgate, you use this for your next football party. And let's check your website one more time because all of her recipes are on gfreelaura.com. You've got all kind of, that summer salad is fantastic.
I know. I don't
Love
want
it.
people to not get it because it says summer because
But you
it's
have it
still
anytime.
So great.
Laura is pulling those out of the oven right now, and we are just about out of time. As she pulls them out, we'll take a look real quick. We're putting it here right in the middle. Oh my gosh, perfect. What's not to love about that? The next time you have a party, it's the perfect gluten-free treat. They don't even have to know. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome, CW. So glad to have you along on Full Plate.